business on a bike with Brooks. Yeah!
So my son just walked in the room earlier. He's 18 years old. He said, Dad 2. He calls me Dad 2 because he's my stepson. Anyways, I'm Dad number 2. Dad 2, Dad. I gotta tell you something. Let me show you something. Do you have a second? I was like, yeah, sure, man. Sure, grab a seat, sit down. So we sit down and he hops on my laptop. He said, you've heard of Oracle, right? I was like, yeah, like it's a giant company software. I was like, honestly, I don't even know what they do. He's like, yeah, I don't either. I'm like, yeah, it's like a B2B company. He's like, cool, go to their website. I was like, okay. So I go to oracle.com. He's like, scroll all the way down to the bottom. So I scrolled to the bottom. He's like, look at that. I was like, what? He's like, jobs. I was like, what? He's like, jobs. He's like, dude, they're literally promoting all of the positions that they have available at their company. I was like, yeah, man. And he was like, man, he's like, Apple does it. Like these giant companies do that. He's like, is this just common sense? Does everyone know that they do this? Which kind of led me to like an interesting thought. I was like, well, no. I was like, it's not. I was like, common sense is not the right word. I was like, it's common sense if you already know that information. But if you didn't already have that information, I was like, it's absolutely not common sense. And he was like, this is amazing, you know? Like why? So he's a senior in high school. He's like, why isn't my school teaching this and showing you like how you can go this path and like look at all these companies? And it's not necessarily a conversation about school. That's not the point. I was like, hey, look, man, so my son is planning to go to college. And if you don't know my backstory, I have a love-hate with college. I actually went, I was on a scholarship, but I don't think it's necessarily the path for everyone. I don't think it's the right answer for everyone. It is for some people. That's all I'll say about that. But like, so he's planning to go and we support that as parents. And I told him about when he goes to college, there's gonna be these things called like career fairs. And I was like, it's really interesting. Like only a few students go to these things. But I was like, there's companies, big companies that are gonna show up and want to meet students. And they're gonna wanna recruit top talent and the sharpest students. And I remember going to one or two of those when I was at Auburn, which is where I went to school, War Eagle. If you're not from anywhere near here, that won't matter to you. But I remember going to a few of those and there were very few students, you know? So like my school had 24,000 students, so seniors, I don't know how many thousand seniors, but you're talking about maybe, you know, hundreds of people that would show up at one of these events, you know, hundreds. So only a fraction of students would take advantage of those things. Now, so let's get back to the Oracle example. So he clicked in, he showed me he was like, look at this, I can filter Alabama. And he showed me this remote sales position. And we just quickly looked at it. He was like, yeah, I totally get I'm not like qualified for it, but like maybe I could figure out the path. Like, how can I figure out the path to see how I can, you know, get this position? So we quickly looked at the qualifications. It's like 5 to 7, this specific job was 5 to 7 years of sales experience in like this high tech industry sector that they needed, it was basically a sales position, a high-end sales position. Further down the qualification list, the very last item, the very final item said college degree. Well, it said bachelor's degree or similar. And it was basically saying like, hey, it's suggested, like, or hey, you know, it would be nice, but it's not like required. So that one job that we clicked into, that one position, the one role, a 6-figure position, was all about experience, was not all about a college degree necessarily. Again, not the point of pro or against college, because college, if you're not gonna have the initiative to just like tinker and start and just do stuff, like you need something. You need some kind of formal training, whether it's college or like some other sort of skill or technical skill or something that you can learn. I'm not even gonna go on a side tangent about AI and robots or anything like that. I'll save that for another day. But we start talking about the different paths and the ways that he could potentially win this position. He said, well, you know, what if I could find someone, you know, at the company that I could like get in contact with and talk to them about like, hey, you could train me up, you know, at a low cost, and then you'll have me trained up, so you don't have to go out and find someone. In a couple of years, I'll like know everything about this position. And, you know, in my head, I'm thinking like, oh, okay, it's kind of like an internship. You know, some companies do those, some don't, you know, whatever. But I liked the way he was thinking, right? Like, I liked that he wasn't just going with the flow. He was trying to trying to come up with an idea of like, how can I do this? How can I make it happen? How can I make this work? And that's the kind of stuff that I encourage for him. In fact, while he was there, I said, hey, look, like any extra time or energy that you have, I was like, if you can learn AI tools, everything that's coming out, like I was just like, dive in. I was like, anything that you find interesting. And so I showed him an example, literally at my laptop. We're in the middle of making an ad for a silent disco event, an ad promotion, and I generated this image using, it doesn't really matter what tool, but Leonardo was the tool, an image, and I took that same image and I put it in this company called Luma Labs, where I basically was able to animate that image and make it like a video. So it's like a video clip for like 3 to 5 seconds. Looks very realistic, very cool, and I just showed him that, and he's like, oh wow, that's really cool. And so I was advising him to just like, yes, like take initiative, do these things, which kind of led to another point that we talked about, which was half of the battle is just showing up. And I'll probably save these examples for another day, but he just recently won a scholarship where he did not have much contesting, like he didn't have much competition. And then I told him a story about how my wife and I got into this kind of secluded private concert that we wanted to get into, but we definitely had not like won tickets to get in, but we ended up getting let in. And in both of those examples, half of the battle was showing up. Because we both showed up, we ended up like succeeding and winning that thing, which is pretty cool. So whether you go to college, you don't go to college, whether you're starting a side hustle, you want to be a full-time side hustler, you want to launch a business, you're trying to figure out how to get going, or maybe you've been in a career for a long time and you're like, ah man, I can't like learn anything new. We're all on this journey, we're all on this path. Like there's always something new, and plus like the world itself is evolving and changing. So for anyone that's not changing and evolving, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to learn those things that are evolving and changing, and just figuring out how you can add value into the marketplace and how you can help somebody. Another side note, if you want side hustle ideas, I keep a running list. I've got a list of 100 plus, I think. So if you want to get overflowed and overwhelmed with business ideas, I got you. Just sign up for my email list. You can Google Brooks Conkle, you can go to my website, sign up at the top. You can go to fulltimesidehustler.com. Same place, it'll get you there. You just sign up with your email. The other thing I do is I actually update folks every week with like my projects and what I'm doing and what's going on, which I think is kind of cool. It gives me an outlet to talk about it, but it also, I think it's helpful for people to be able to like see what's possible. And some stuff is working and some stuff is not, right? And if it's not working, I'm like, hey, this isn't, this is slowly growing, or this is booming, or whatever. And I'm very diversified and have a lot of different things. And so maybe that'll be helpful for you. All right, I really enjoyed the time. Hope you found this helpful. Like and all that jazz. Share it with someone that you love, and I'll see you next time. All right, take care.
Business on the Bike with Brooks. Yeah.